So first things first, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Oli Marmol was extended by the St. Louis Cardinals, and this led to some disappointment, and I'll go as far to say outrage amongst some Cardinals fans, wondering why did this happen? Why now? What's going on here? And then Bernie Miklasz did his best job to try to calm Cardinals fans down. And to be honest with you, I land somewhere in between this. I went live on my YouTube channel talking about this when the news broke. John Denton broke the story that Oli Marmol received a 2-year contract extension, which would make him the Cardinals manager, assuming he doesn't get fired through the year 2026, this year, 2025, and 2026. And the timing of it, I thought was very strange. I guess you have to call a press conference, but still, it's very bizarre to do that right before the season begins. Not the camp, the Cardinals haven't even broke spring training yet, haven't even ended spring training. And, there's a press conference. And I don't know, the timing of it to me felt weird. And I'd be interested to hear what some other fans think of this. So feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. But overall, I was just disappointed, and I get it, the reasons why you sign him to a contract extension. I understand those. The team, I suppose, needs to feel like their manager is going to be here for the long haul. The team needs to feel some sense of security. There were other reasons mentioned in Bernie Miklasz's article, and the fact is, they can still fire him. I mean, they fired Mike Matheny, I believe, with still years left on his contract. So, and it's not the richest of contracts among major league managers. It's not like it's going to break the bank. It's not like the Cubs, like the Cubs are paying Craig Counsell. They made him the highest paid manager in Major League Baseball. It's not like the Cardinals did that for Oli Marmol, but it just sends a rather poor message to the fan base. And let's just talk about this. Are the Cardinals committed to winning? And I don't know the answer to that because on one hand, they are spending about $99 million on their starting pitching. On the other hand, they've failed to develop starting pitching, and that's a result of their failure. So again, them signing Oli Marmol to a contract extension, I don't know if we can go so far as to say this is just the handpicked guy. This is who the Cardinals are comfortable with. I think there might be some truth to that. But I do believe that if the Cardinals get off to a disappointing start, even though their schedule is like really tough, their schedule is very tough to start the year. If they get off to a bad start, let's say a month or 2 months go by and the Cardinals are 10 games below 500, 2 or 3 months into the season, it wouldn't shock me by mid-season that Oli Marmol is still gone. I still think those implications are there for him. I still think there's a lot of pressure on the St. Louis Cardinals to turn this thing around. I think they can. I still think they can. As we talked about, as we talked about on this podcast, I think that Jordan Montgomery's sitting out there, and I don't know why they haven't signed him yet. I get it. You're already spending $99 million on starting pitching, but that's not the fans' problem. That's not that's a John Mozeliak problem, not having developed starting pitching. And you just set a money limit on it and say, nope, I can't pay for any more starting pitching right now. If this is what your ball club needs, and if you think that this is a win now, all in type of season, then I don't know what's stopping you, because unless you think Jordan Montgomery is going to regress, which I really don't see happening. But back to this whole conversation, just the timing of the signing of the contract extension, the fact that Mike Schilt was fired after winning 90 games and making the postseason, it's all very bizarre and it's all very strange. And I hope it's not an indicator of what's to come, right? I hope it's not more of the same for the St. Louis Cardinals, but we'll see. We'll see how the season goes, and what is going to be one of the more fascinating seasons, maybe the most fascinating season coming up for the St. Louis Cardinals that I can remember. And back to the question, like, are the Cardinals committed to winning? We've talked about this question on the channel before on the podcast. And the answer to that is I think they are to a point. I think they have their number in mind, and I'm talking about ownership. I think they have a number in mind, and you can go back. I referenced the Forbes article on this podcast that the Cardinals really don't go above 160, 170 million on payroll. I think they have a budget in mind, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have a budget, but I think that they are very uncomfortable going above and beyond, going above what they're comfortable spending on players. And I think that we are at that threshold right now. And for better or worse, there's no Jordan Montgomery coming. There's no pitching reinforcements unless they make a trade in season. And even then, the Cardinals like to hold on to these prospects, and their prospect pool isn't as good as it once was. And that's because they have, other entities as well, to be fair to the Cardinals, have overrated the Cardinals prospects in the past. And, and there's another point of that prospects are simply that, they're prospects. They're not sure things. As highly touted as certain prospects are. I mean, I can remember Alex Reyes was the number one prospect in all of baseball. I can remember his first start. He got injured. He was injured, and then he just never was quite what the Cardinals thought he would be. That happens. Even with number one overall prospects, it happens. So to be fair to the Cardinals, they were probably pretty high on a lot of these people, on a lot of these prospects, but they just didn't pan out. So again, is that an excuse? No, you should be able to develop starting pitching within your system, but it just is kind of the way it is in Major League Baseball. It's one of it's the trickiest sport, in my opinion, to evaluate like starting pitching. It's really tough, but the Cardinals clearly have failed to do that, and that's why they're spending $99 million on their starting pitching. So on the one hand, you can say the Cardinals are committing that much money to starting pitching. On the other hand, there's definitely a number that they're not willing to go over in 2024. Should they be willing to do that in some circumstances? I think yes. I think they should be, especially when a Jordan Montgomery's out there. But let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get to some injury updates. Let's talk about Sonny Gray. He's officially not going to be the Cardinals opening day starting pitcher. He will throw a minor league game in a game-like situation. So on March 20th, the update is Gray threw a fourth side session Wednesday and is scheduled to face minor league hitters in a game-like situation on Friday. So that we're recording this on Thursday. So tomorrow he will face minor league hitters in a game-like situation. If Gray physically passes those tests and shows no ill effects, he could be then slotted into the Cardinals' regular season rotation, but he's not going to be the opening day starter. But the Cardinals are hopeful, it says here, the Cardinals are hopeful that Gray will be able to make a start during their opening 7-game road trip against the Dodgers and the Padres. So they're still hoping that he can be available for that stint on the. I mean, certainly they're going to need him, but he's not going to be the opening day starter. That's going to be Miles Mikolas. So that's the update on Sonny Gray. Tommy Edmond, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a minute before Tommy Edmond is available. It's going to be a while. I don't know if we're going to see him. Like, that wrist is it just feels like it's not good. It's not a good update. And then Lars Nootbaar, I haven't seen much update about him. I don't believe he's on the IL as of yet. That could be me just missing something. I was looking around right before I started recording, but I haven't heard much of an update. I would assume he's trying to be ready for opening day, but we'll see. The rib fractures, it seems pretty serious. It wouldn't surprise me if he winds up on the IL sometime in the near future and he misses a week or two. I mean, that would just make sense to me. So those are the updates there. Another update, a little less impactful of an update, is that Drew Rom is shut down from pitching, left forearm strain. So Rom hasn't pitched since allowing 9 hits and 4 earned runs on March 15th against the Marlins. So that's an update. And I do have an update. Kenyon Middleton, March 16th, right forearm strain. He's shut down for 10 days, and he's going to start the season on the IL. And I guess one more thing I should mention, Brendan Crawford exited a game on March 16th or March 17th. He was hit by a pitch, but the x-rays were negative, so he's good to go. And those are all the injury updates from the St. Louis Cardinals. There is a outfield battle brewing in the St. Louis Cardinals, and this is a good thing. This is actually a good development because we have some real competition, and I believe it was sparked on by the appearance, or the emergence rather, of Victor Scott. This is a good thing. This is a really good thing for the Cardinals because now you're starting to see in spring Dylan Carlson starting to come to life, starting to hit a little bit better. And the outfield battles between Dylan Carlson, Alec Burleson, and Victor Scott. Dylan Carlson now is hitting 267 in spring training. He has struck out a lot. He struck out 14 times in 45 at bats, but he's hit 3 home runs. He's starting to hit the ball a lot better in spring. He's starting to wake up a little bit. That's a good sign. My guess is he's going to be the starting center fielder on opening day. That doesn't mean that Victor Scott won't make the team, because Victor Scott, likely your best defensive outfield, assuming that you don't have Lars Nootbaar, assuming you don't have Tommy Edman, is Victor Scott in left, Dylan Carlson in center, or flip them, Victor Scott in center, Dylan Carlson in left, and Alec Burleson on the bench. If you need some more pop and you want to sacrifice some defense, you can put Alec Burleson in left and play Dylan Carlson in center. So that seems to be like, I think we're on a pathway where all of these guys are going to be on the opening day roster just because of the injuries. Now, when Lars Nootbaar comes back, that's when things are going to get tricky. And that's when I would guess that Victor Scott gets sent down to AAA. I kind of, unless he just is here to stay and he takes the position and doesn't give it back, that's also a possibility. I'm very, very high on Victor Scott in the future, but I'm just guessing that the Cardinals are going to feel more comfortable going with Dylan Carlson, especially now that he's turned it on in the spring. But that's just my guess. That's just my best guess. But I believe that all three of these guys are going to be on the opening day roster because of those injuries to Tommy Edman and Lars Nootbaar. But let me know what you think. I'd be excited, or I'd be interested to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching, listening. Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit subscribe to the channel. And until next time, be good, everybody. Let's go Redbirds. 1 week till opening day. I'm excited. I hope you are too. And until next time, be good, everyone, and we will see you later.